What were some of the lessons you learned from those different experiences about how to be a successful engineering leader and to manage your organization?
I think the biggest thing that I learned, and I was growing during that period as an engineering leader as well, because when at the point that I took on the role, I hadn't really managed a very large team, right? So I would say the one thing that I learned through the years is just to not avoid difficult conversations. I think we all know when we need to have a hard conversation, and generally that's not something we like doing. And so we tend to put it off or avoid it, right? And that always comes back and bites you. You've got to, make sure that you figure out how to have the hard conversations early, right? And so really get comfortable with that and get comfortable with having difficult conversations and develop your own techniques and so on. That's one thing. And then the second thing I would say is just listen very carefully to your team, right? I think your job as a leader is not to actually solve every problem, but to identify the problems that need to be solved and then, figure out where the best solutions are, right? And all of those things, the problems that need to be solved are also going to come from your team. The solutions are going to come from your team, right? So your job is really to pick up all that signal, synthesize, and make sure, the right things get done. And then another one that often we ignore is there is a big difference between what you intend to say and how it is perceived. Especially as a leader, the difference, I call it the intent perception gap, right? You intend to say something a certain way, and how somebody picks up on it is going to be very, very different. So I'll give you an example. I used to walk around the hallways and engage in conversations with folks on the team. My intent was just to connect and have a chat and have a technical brainstorm or something on a topic, right? And so my intent was to learn a bit more about what they were doing and what they're working on, but also just chime in with some ideas and things of that nature. What I didn't realize is when I would throw out an idea or throw out a proposal, they took it as a, hey, Shankar wants me to change what I'm doing and do it differently, right? And so here's a great example of an intent perception gap, right? I'm intending something, but the way it's coming across to the people that I'm talking to is very different, right? And so that is something that you have to be very mindful of as a leader, right? Is when you say something, it is perceived very, very differently by different people.